after leaving Take That, I said some very unfair things about the boys and did some stupid stuff that, you know, I don't regret, because I was only very young and was hurting a lot. But I think that, you know, my actions were questionable after I left the band. Towards, you know, I didn't say anything nice about any of them, apart from Mark. Howard had an amazing sense of humour, absolutely amazing. He used to have me in hysterics all the time, and I loved him when he was on form. You know, I loved him, but I mean, I loved to hear him making funny comments or making funny noises, because, you know, he was genuinely the funny member of the band. You know, and also he had an amazing voice. And he's got amazing musical ability. He can harmonise to anything, and he's got amazing rhythm. And I always thought that, you know, he'd be an amazing songwriter. He also could dance really, really well, and had great hair. Jason, me and him bumped heads all the time, and having been sent the backstage footage just recently, like 60 hours worth of or something, I was watching it. I watched a lot of it, and I was just an annoying little sod. At the best of times, I was annoying. At the worst of times, you know, I suppose I could make them titter every now and again. And Jason took a barrage of just piss taking and winding up from me, you know, to the point of really pushing it over the edge. And I'm sure, you know, that if we weren't working so hard and we got things to do, he would have battered me. You know, he should have, in all rights, Jason should have battered me for how bloody rude I was to him, to tell you the truth. But he was so easy to wind up. You know, I couldn't help it, you know. And the thing is about winding people up is that the more it riles them, the more, you know, they've got the bait. We've got to wind them in now. You know, and I'm sure he'll say, but you gave it, but you couldn't take it. Perhaps I couldn't. But with Jay, you know, he took an awful lot of battering from me verbally. But Jay's a good man, you know, he's a good man, and I hope whatever he's up to, he's doing well at it, and he's, you know, he's feeling happy, because he's one of the best dancers I've ever seen or met, you know. I did bring into question, once I left Take That, and subsequently ever since, Gary Barlow's merits as a songwriter. You know, and I actually downloaded all the Take That albums a few months ago and listened to all of them, and I remember at the time genuinely thinking, after I'd left anyway and I wanted to become Oasis, you know, I remember thinking, he's a genuinely crap songwriter, you know. But as time's gone by and a bit of maturity's come to me, and basically the folly of trying to be something that I'm not has slipped away, you look back at his songs and he's an amazing songwriter. You know, he deserved and deserves the recognition he had for the talent he has. You know, there's classic pop songs all the way through every album, and he delivered one after another, and you know, hats off to him. He is an amazing talent. Mark is probably the nicest man in history. You know, I think probably to his own detriment a lot of the time. You know, he was my little buddy, and you know, I think all of us probably had killer instincts. You know, there'd be a point where we go, ah! You know, Mark just hasn't. You know, he genuinely is. I bet he was Florence Nightingale in a previous life or something, or I don't know. He his albums, I've got to say, since going solo, have probably been the most authentic songs out of the lot of us, you know. His albums and his lyrics and his melodies are amazing. We did this club, we did a PA in there, do what you like, and afterwards we had a meet and greet, loads of girls came back in, and this room was full of girls, and this one girl just backed onto me, and I remember thinking she was really fit, and I was 17, hormones raging, and she started playing with my cock in the dressing room like that, and I'm looking over at Nigel to see if he can see, and he's not looking and he's not looking, and all I'm doing is watching Nigel like that, thinking, how am I gonna get her back to the B&B? Because we were staying at a B&B on the front, and so I went, right lads, we're going now. So I went, B&B on the front, see you in a bit. Off she goes. Then we go back to the B&B and then go on the beach for a drink and a smoke and chat about the night. And then loads of girls came out from the club, you know. And so Nigel went, right lad, in. So we went back into the B&B. And Nigel had imposed this no sex ban. Now, me and Mark get into my room. I went, Mark, there was a girl at the club, and she did, and I'm looking at Nigel, and I'm going out in my mind, because that's telling me I've got to go and do the thing I've got to do, right? And it's only natural, right? So why should I be stopped doing it, right? And he goes, you're right, Robbie, why don't you go and tell Nigel? I will, I'll go and tell him, I'll be brave, it's only natural, right? And he goes, yeah, and I'll hide in the cupboard. So he hides in the cupboard, I go and knock on Nigel's door. I went, Nigel, there's a girl outside, right? She wants to sleep with me and I want to sleep with her, and I think it's only natural, and I think you should just let me this one time. So he goes, and he thinks about it for a bit. Bearing in mind she's already knocked on my window, because we're on the bottom floor. So she's knocked on my window and I've opened the curtains, I've gone like that. I'm looking around the whole of the bottom floor saying, well, I could get through the shower window and I could jump out of here. I go to the other floor and jump down. Nigel's right next door to me. So, and I was fully expecting to probably be sacked, right, or to be really shouted at. And he went, yeah, all right, just this once. Yeah, but... Oh, okay, thanks. Went into my room and I'm like, oh, he's letting me do it to Mark, right? And then Nigel obviously thought about it and come in. And he went, actually, I thought... And Mark was laughing in the cupboard and he went, who's in there? And I went, Mark! Grasped him straight up. Mark, come in! Like that. And he went, right, you, out, and you, bed! Like that. And I'm thinking, I really shagged that one, didn't I? All the old photos and everything, and all the old videos, I think are brilliant. And it also, you know, for embarrassment's sake, you'd have to go a long way these days for me to be embarrassed. Because I got my arse wiped off with a mop and loads of jelly as me and four of my mates lay on our fronts naked. You know, and then we had cod pieces and pit boots and lycra all-in-ones, you know. And and at the time, you know, because there's a set of rules that if you're of a certain mindset you have to adhere to. You know, I was really into hip-hop, and I was really into indie music, and the two didn't go together, you know, so there was an internal embarrassment all the time. But now, brilliant pop, and when I say pop, I mean the photos, the interviews, they were just great pop stars. And I must say, I don't think there's been a boy band as good as us for entertainment and for songs ever since. Yeah. And you'd be hard pressed to find one before too. You know, I'm not talking about the Beatles, they're not a boy band. You know, I'm talking about your archetypal 4 or 5 lads on stage singing and dancing. You know, and New Kids were great. And what's the one Justin Timberlake was in? NSYNC weren't too bad. But for a live show, you know, our shows were as good as a Madonna show, I think. You know.
Talking about the rules.
Boy bands are friggin' lazy these days. Ballad, stand. Ballad, stand. When I see it, it annoys me. So I know how hard we worked. And I know how hard they got me to work. Because I was lazy too. But I still did it. Westlife. My drug taking would have happened with or without Take That. You know, and before Take That, I'd done acid and speed and smoked a lot of weed. So I was sort of heading into that direction anyway. And, you know, I think, yeah, for me, the drug intake obviously sped up a lot quicker until it was my life, you know. But for the other lads, it wasn't really part of their life. Probably the best times were just when the 5 lads were together and we would laugh. Because we did a lot of laughing and a lot of giggling, you know, and there's not one. I think probably the best time, Promises had just gone in at number 39. We were in a hotel in London and we all jumped up and down on my bed and we broke it. That's the most excited I've ever been about a chart entry of Take That or me solo. I've never been more happier than 39 with Promises because we got in the top 40. I think, you know, it's like I'd go into a room with Mark, Howard and Jason now, you know, but I think with Gary, I think there's a strange mixture of guilt from my part on what I said after I left the band, and also knowing that I wouldn't get any resolve. Yeah, I wouldn't get any resolve. Because I don't think, as a person, he could see how he was or what he did, how he acted or how he behaved. And also, you know, it's like, I've been on Friends Reunited. I've tried to get hold of, in contact with people from my school. It hasn't worked out. Why should Take That be any different? 12 years ago. You know, I was a person then that I'm not now. You know, and people move on. And yeah, there wasn't a goodbye properly. And maybe there will be in the future. But right now, I don't think I could be in the same room with Gary.